2, 1. Hey, good evening and welcome to SIBHQ. Tonight we have an amazing special guest, Mr. Mark Green from Littlehampton. Mark is part of Light Paranormal, and he is also one of the team that works frequently at the Dolphin Hotel, also in Littlehampton. So good evening, Mark.
Hello, welcome everybody else as well.
So let's just go on to start. I can now set up the Facebook page so I can see the comments when they come in. So there we go. It might get a bit noisy. Is part of Light, so the team that works frequently at the Dolphin Hotel. There we go. That's live. So just want to say hello to Shazzy, to Ellie, to Lydia.
Hi, Ellie.
Nice to see you guys. Ellie said
boss.
A great big hello.
Yeah. Hi, boss.
So it's always a pleasure to. I'm not going to say I don't like the word interview somebody, but to share the hour with somebody different. Who has an exceptional gift, who likes to do research with the paranormal, but not just ghosts and spirits, because I know from things that you've told me yourself that you spent time doing UFO study and other things as well.
That's right. So, yeah. Before I got into active ghost hunting, since a little kid, I was a ufologist. So used to belong to it's now defunct, the sort of UFO phenomenon, but strangely at the moment it's like the ghost phenomenon has taken over from it a bit and stolen a little bit of its thunder. But yeah, I used to belong to a group called the Southampton UFO group, so no longer going, unfortunately.
It's a shame when these things kind of change over.
There's room for it. There's room for all of it. So.
Which is why we at Stabbed in the Bank are looking towards all three of the pseudosciences that come under the title the paranormal. So that is the ghosts and spirits, which is number one, cryptozoology and ufology. To try and just share with people that it's not just about ghosts and spirits, that there are so many other things out there that are not explained. Excuse me, I've got to achieve top lip.
That's all right, yeah. I keep fidgeting, trying to get comfortable.
So, it's important, I think, that, that people remember, people who want to know more about the paranormal understand a bit more about that the paranormal is the grand title. It's like the HRH of the three pseudosciences.
Yeah, basically, paranormal means it's another word for the unexplained, really, which is the word that was always used. Arthur C. Clarke years ago, it was always the unexplained or the unexplained files, and obviously he was one of the pioneers of making it famous on modern media.
You take a lot of these authors like Anthony Horowitz, Arthur C. Clarke, quite a few, the other big fantasy writers, almost as people call them, but each one of them had their own unique take on what the paranormal was. So it just made it that little bit more exciting.
Absolutely.
When you read the books, you're immersed into a world that doesn't necessarily make sense to our human conception, but our physical, our spiritual
side, yeah, absolutely,
at home. So it's something different.
I owe a lot. Obviously, I've always been into anything unexplained, because if something's unexplained, I want an answer. I don't want to say that, well, it's just unexplained, we don't know what it is. Well, I want to find out. And Arthur C. Clarke, he was a big influence on me. His TV programs and books when I was younger. I always remember some of the crazy ones, like in some country like Venezuela or somewhere, where it was raining fish, or it would be raining frogs, and sounds bonkers, but there's videos, and this phenomenon still happens to this day. how does it happen? You know, it obviously does happen. So how does it happen? Somebody, so there might be a scientific explanation now, but I've not heard of it. So if anybody knows, let me know.
Yeah. So here we go. Nitty gritty.
Yeah, go for it. The interrogation.
Start with a similar questions to those that I asked Ellie. Do you have any pets?
No, I don't have pets. Don't have time for pets, really. Yeah, no, I don't have time for pets. And you know, I love animals, but it's not for me. And I'm also a great believer in like pets. See, when I was a kid, we had goldfish and budgies, but I'm a great believer that animals shouldn't be in cages. You know, I love rabbits. I've letting all my secrets out now, and there's people watching that know me, but I love rabbits. Fluffy little bunnies, great things, but people keep them as pets. I don't want to see one cooped up in a box all day. They should be running around the fields.
Yeah, no,
simple as that. You know, yeah. Although you know, I still eat animals. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan or anything like that. You know, I do eat meat. But yeah, I don't agree with them being in cages.
Now, earlier on, when we were just going through setup, you said that you bought a steam engine or a steamroller.
Yeah.
Is that like kind of the old big traction engine style, or is it?
It is. One of my other hobbies. One of my big heroes, Fred Dibner, the late Fred Dibner. Met him before, watched all his programs, grew up with that. But I've grown up. One of my biggest hobbies is preservation. Whether it's old bins, old engines, engineering, old cars. I've restored endless classic cars in my time. I've built hot rod cars, fast cars, but I've always had a yearning for a steam engine. I love steam engines, and for about 20 years I've had this dream, and I've worked hard, and I've scrimped, I've scraped. I mean, believe me, my house is falling apart because I've not spent money on that. And when the missus watches this back, she's going to go, yeah, that's about right. And anyway, back last year in September, I achieved my dream, and I bought a 10-ton 1926 Aveling and Porter steamroller.
So you bought a baby?
Yeah. She's going to be a handful.
Yeah.
My toy.
From the age of 14 to the age of 23, I used to go to steam fairs with a friend of mine who had a traction engine.
Right. Okay.
I was the only one that was allowed to drive it when he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Because I spent over 100 hours learning to drive it, and it's a fantastic.
Yeah, and you still keep learning. Yeah. I've got friends. I've driven friends' engines, and it's nice, but you have to wait to be asked. So now I own my own. I can do what I like with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
No running people down and turning them into ghosts just because you want to investigate them.
Yeah, well, one day I might have the ghost of Fred Dibner come through. Who knows?
I think we'd all like that one, because there are a lot of questions.
Yeah. We do like that, yeah. But
absolutely amazing.
Okay.
So, how old were you when you saw your first spirit, or you first heard a spirit talk to you?
Oh, see, I've always thought I was a bit strange and a bit weird. So hearing voices as a kid, from a very young age, I mean, sort of 4 or 5 years old, and I spent a lot of time walking around talking to myself. I still do, actually. I wander about having conversations with myself. But that was pretty much how it sort of all started. And it wasn't until getting involved with the Light team. Well, basically, I went on a ghost hunt. I went on my first ghost hunt, which was at the Dolphin, one of Ellie's early ghost hunts, and she had a team at the time. And I paid me money, and I went on this ghost hunt. And I thought, this is what I've been looking for. I feel at home here. This is good. There was things happening that night, and this seems to be where I fit in. And since then, I did the next one and the next one, and then I was asked by Ellie would I like to join the team, and the rest is history. That's back in 2004 now. So that all worked well. And now I sat in with our medium Wendy Jack. We do a psychic circle once a week now where we meet, and that you can improve. You learn how to deal with messages and understand things more. So yeah, all good. So I was drawn to the place for a reason.
Well, we're hoping to have Wendy Jack live on the chat before we actually get down to the Dolphin Hotel, just so
brilliant.
That
you
answer questions,
good.
Talk a bit more about what she does.
Yeah,
because we as a team are really looking forward to coming down to the Dolphin Hotel.
Good. Yeah, we can't wait to have you there.
And heard so many things. That one live when I tuned in and I saw the little white dog sat at her feet, and she broke down because she'd lost a little white dog. I didn't know. And I just said to her, I said, you stood up and he followed you. She just went, you're absolutely spot on, because that's what this dog used to do.
Yeah, I did a similar thing because she's got a little black cat now, but she had a previous black cat, and I said, I've out on the car park area. I said, I've seen a black cat, but it wasn't a real black cat, but like in my mind's eye, I'm seeing a black cat walking along the back wall. So yeah, it's an animal past. So.
Yeah, I've just seen it. Got a question in chat, Mark. I don't know if you'll be able to help. It says, is it normal for a person who is giving a reading to tell you that you have a dark entity attached to you? That's from Sharon Evans.
I mean, this first time ever in public. I'm going to have to put the bins on. All right, I can see that now. Is it normal for a person who is giving a reading to tell that you have a dark entity? Well, I mean, if somebody's got, this is what I've learned from Wendy, and she'd go into more detail, but what I've learned so far is that if somebody has a dark entity attached and you can feel that dark entity, you've got two ways to go, and you can either say nothing, but the person could then live in torment and misery and not understanding why, or you tell that person what they have, but then you must help that person. You must then help that person, and you must remove that energy from them. If that answers the question and makes any sense.
Yeah,
you couldn't.
That's what I was told as well, that if normally if a psychic tells you you have a dark spirit attached to you, it is their responsibility to help you move on.
Absolutely. If you come across somebody that's got an attachment which is negative or malevolent in any way, you do have a duty to help that person and to remove it.
Yeah,
absolutely. To me, that's ethics. That's just ethics. I mean, I couldn't communicate with somebody and say, oh, you've got a bad energy attached to you, and let them go off home and in a mess and take it with them. You've got to help. You have a duty to help. Absolutely, 100%.
Well, Sharon says he did try to remove it, but she feels it comes back. So that's
right. So, I mean, maybe it's coming back in like visitation, but did he say whether it was actually connected to her or to a house, a home? That would be interesting to know.
Don't know, Sharon.
I mean, to be honest. In that Sharon, in that situation, I would contact go see another medium, and don't tell them anything, but just see what another medium would come up with in your situation, and see if another medium picks up on this entity. Obviously, if you've got a negative entity, I had an attachment from an investigation we did. We went out into the woods. Long story. I had this negative attachment, and it was with me for quite a few weeks. And it took me, Wendy, and another medium to shift it, basically. But yeah, nobody wants to live with anything like that, and you shouldn't have to. You're the one that's on this earth plane, and you're the one with the control. So yeah, I would look into seeing I mean, not just some old charlatan, but see a good recommended medium, and go and have a chat. Yeah, definitely.
You put your glasses on, and Ellie posted Buddy Holly.
Buddy Holly, yeah. Well,
Buddy Holly.
If only I had half the talent Buddy Holly had. Actually,
and his money. And his money. Your house would be falling down, and everything else would be a dream. So
yeah, but I'd also be in spirit, because he died in 1959. So, but just a very quick story with that, saying I look like Buddy Holly. When I was at my lowest, if you like, in life, I had a bit breakdown, etc., etc. I'm not going into all that, but I swore I could, everywhere I went, I could hear Buddy Holly songs. I would see pictures of Buddy Holly, and this is going to sound absolutely crazy to a lot of people, but I do believe that as we will got guides, etc., and I do believe that somewhere in the background there, Buddy Holly, the spirit would have been, you know, looking out for me. I believe that because, or somebody was using him for me to associate with the situation I was in through his songs. You know, they were putting it out there for a reason. It helped me at the time, and I believe that. So that's it, really. So I'm going to take them off now and look like Fred Dibner again.
Well, before you take them off, you take them off anyway. Lisa asks, Mark, how did you feel when you saw your first spirit? Did it scare you?
No. It's a strange one, because the first spirit, the first, what I would say, what I would know to be an apparition. I've seen shadow people and things growing up as a kid, and different images, but you were always, as the skeptic, you were like, was it, wasn't it? I don't know. So, but the first full apparition I saw was actually at the Dolphin. It was a night I'd gone down to do an investigation. We were going on an outside investigation with the team. Now Ellie and the team had left before I got there. I was running late, so I thought, well, I'll just stay and, you know, I'll have a drink and then I'll go. Well, there's only a couple of people in the bar, so I'm looking down from the bar towards where the front entrance is, and I saw the top half of a white lady in what looked like a wedding dress. It was like, it was kind of translucent, but you know, when you look up and you go, who's that just walked in? And literally just walked across from the door area and passed through the bar to where the back cellar area is and vanished. And it was just the shock. It was like, oh my God, I have just seen an apparition. And that was my feelings on it. I've had experiences since then where I've seen other things, especially like with shadow people, etc., and that scares me. That they did scare me. Seeing shadow people scares me more than seeing a full-bodied apparition. Okay.
One of our regulars, Annette, says, with a flat cap on, you remind her of Suggs from Madness.
Well, I've not had that one before, but I'll take it as a compliment. I wish I had his money. We'd be all right. But there you go. The paranormal world. It's all madness, is it? Or are we mad? I don't know.
Bit of both, I think, sometimes.
Yeah, well, we don't know, see. So we don't know, and the scientists can't prove it or disprove it. So nobody's wrong. Nobody's wrong.
As quite a few people know, I'm bipolar. So I've often been asked, are you into the paranormal because your mental health is on a different tangent than everybody else's?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, that could be a possibility. But then I've been with sane people who have got no mental health issues, and they're still seeing ghosts and spirits. So therefore, I think the answer to that is whether or not you have bad mental health, simple mental health issues or no mental health issues, you can still see the paranormal, be involved with the paranormal.
Oh, absolutely. It's you know, it doesn't matter who you are. There's police officers, there's military people, there's famous people that have come out and said, I've seen this, I've experienced that. Totally sane people or people with mental health issues. I don't think it makes one jot of difference to the paranormal, because the paranormal is really, the paranormal should be a science. Yeah. I mean, in America now, you can go to Harvard and you can study, you can do parapsychology here, but you can study the paranormal, you can do a degree in it. People are saying you can do degrees in demonology, etc. But the whole, it all comes under the banner of the paranormal. So it exists, it's there. I don't think mental illness comes into it at all, not one little bit. I mean, I'm certainly not a paranormal investigator because I had a breakdown years ago, and I've suffered a few issues. You know, that's not why I'm doing it. I'm not looking for for evidence because of health problems. I'm doing it because I want answers to what's going on and what is out there.
Well, Ellie's posted, Mark, is that a Help My House is Haunted t-shirt?
Buddy Holly on again.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, see? Ellie. Yep. It's a Help My House is Haunted t-shirt. Care of Barry Guy. Lovely man, great man. We had him at the Dolphin, obviously, for the filming of this. And I've worked with him on a couple of investigations he's done since then. We had a second one after the programme, which was just a private investigation like the one you're going to do. And really nice guy. Won't have a bad word against him. Lovely guy, yeah. But the programs with the issues, what you see on the TV, what people don't realise is when they filmed, excuse me, when they filmed Help My House is Haunted that we did, it was the first series, but although we aired as episode 9, I do believe it is, at the Dolphin, we were actually the first one that they filmed. So you've got a brand new production team, crew, producers all come in. It was the first time that Barry, Chris Fleming, Sandy Lactar had sort of got together, and it was their first investigation. So it was winging it a little bit, but they had a producer. And once they'd got in, and Ellie'd shown them the CCTV footage of that strange apparition or creature or whatever it was, it's quite famous now, that once they'd seen it, and Ellie is the first person in that video when you watch it to say it looks like she's just saying, it suggesting it looks like some kind of imp or something. It's just as a throwaway comment. The producers have picked up on that,
yeah, and
then all of a sudden there seems the word imp came up and came up and came up again, and the same with the Ouija board thing. Just for the record, I don't like the word Ouija board. I prefer to call it a spirit board. But that's another story. But as far as the program goes, it gave us a platform and it put us on the map. So you know, all publicity is good publicity. You know, it could have come out different, but like I said, what people don't know is that was the first one that they'd actually done. Sandy, lovely girl. Chris Fleming, I still converse with them now via the internet. Great people. And Jane Harris, which is now, she's taken over from Sandy. Lovely lady. I'll talk to her on here. Again, yeah, brilliant. And, you know, well done to them. And I'm glad, you know, they're building a career out of it. Good luck to them.
Do you think they'd ever come back to the Dolphin do another show if they were invited?
I'm not sure that any TV investigation crew would ever go back and do a revisit. Now I know years ago, like the Most Haunted, they used to go back and revisit certain places. They're only into series 2, so I'm not sure they would. But I don't know how Eddie would feel. I'm sure she'll comment in a minute. But if they were to come back and do another episode as like a follow-up episode, you know, it would be down to Eddie whether they came back. But yeah, I can't see it happening. But you know, who knows?
We've got a couple of questions relating to UFOs and aliens. Lydia asks, and Annette asks. Lydia says, Mark, do you believe in aliens? And Annette says, do you believe in UFOs and aliens?
Right.
I guess having been ufologists, then that's something for some of us would turn around and go, yes.
Right. But, okay. So my point of view on this, I'm a ufologist. Things are seen in the skies, obviously, which are unidentified flying objects. Now, are they aliens? Are they secret, covert military craft? Are there other phenomena? We don't know. So, as a ufologist, I am a skeptic because I don't know if they're alien or from this earth. My personal, I'm still a skeptic on that one, whether they're aliens flying down in crafts and visiting us. But in the back of my mind, really, I suppose yes, because I believe in who built the pyramids, etc., etc. Reverse engineering is another theory. How did we get the F-1 Blackbird? How can we do all the computer technology and all this that we've got now? Where did this information come from? In a very short space of time, we've gone from putting a man on the moon in 1960 to we can do all this stuff now in a very short space of time. So I do believe.
Why have we never gone back and put a man on the moon?
Sorry, Steve?
Why have we never gone back and put a man on the moon?
Well, exactly. Well, isn't it? I think that isn't the Chinese. I'm sure I've read somewhere that the Chinese are going back to the moon to do another investigation. I'm sure it's the Chinese, and they're going to try and put a man on the moon again, and going out, which will be really interesting because. Also, then that when it comes to what do we do? Conspiracy theories. Now, people will say that we never landed on the moon. Did we or didn't we? Well, I can't prove it because I've never been there. We've all seen the footage, and you can point out shadows and footprints, and where did this come from? Where did that come from? But the one piece of evidence that puts doubt into my mind, I'm 99% sure we put a man on the moon. But the one piece of evidence in my mind is the fact that before the Apollo mission to go to the moon, Stanley Kubrick, and this is fact now, that Stanley Kubrick was commissioned to make a film in a studio of the moon landing. And they made a film of the moon landing. This came to light 30 years later. Now, so did they do the film and then never used it because they put a man on the moon, because they got to the moon and they were successful, and then they were going to use the film if they didn't get there and it all went wrong and say, well, we got there anyway? It just seems strange to me that Stanley Kubrick was commissioned and he made this film at the moon landing before they went. So, yeah. But yeah, why have we not gone back? Probably there's not a lot of resources. Put it this way, if there was oil or gold or something on the moon, we'd be up there. We'd all be fighting to get up there. So, but yeah, but then there are other areas of the universe that we don't understand as much. So maybe they're just looking into other options. I don't know.
Well, Ellie's posted a response to, would you like Help My House is Haunted to go back?
Yep.
I would, but she'd want to see it first. She felt a little stitched up and only saw the program when the public did.
Absolutely. We didn't get to see it until it aired on the TV. And I totally understand where she's coming from with that, 100%. But yeah, if they came back to do a visit, then see, if they did a return visit, it would be interesting then to see what Chris and the team would find, to see if anything had changed or the views were the same. It would be interesting. Yeah, definitely.
A friend of mine, Alex, has asked, because he's on my watch party. He says, "Why don't you like the word Ouija It's essentially just yes in French and German.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry, go on.
You know, so he's just asking why he didn't like it.
I just think it's because people, people just, you know, with the films and it gets a bad press. It's nothing personal. That's all it means. But I just prefer personally to call it a spirit board. It's as simple as that, really. Yeah, I think the word spirit board is a nicer term.
Yeah, but he also says that he agrees with you about the moon. He says we never went back to the moon because the Americans won the arms race, and there was huge political pressure to stop the funding as it was way too expensive. Especially after 6 successful missions and 1 disaster, Apollo 13.
Yeah.
I agree with Mark. We went to the moon.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah. Well, I'd say it'll be interesting if the Chinese do go ahead with their plans and they do go back. Obviously, because if they do get up there, the lunar rover is still there. The flags are still there. It's all still there. So, for somebody else to go, even if it's for other means that they go back there to have a look to see if they were there or not, if that makes sense. Watch this space. Literally, watch this space. It will be interesting. I'd like to see somebody else go there, not the Americans, but somebody else, and see with the technology nowadays. You know, for somebody to send back, there's the lunar rover. It's still sitting there. Brilliant.
Okay, going back to paranormal, I know that you've done Arundel Jail, also in Littlehampton. You know, what is your most memorable place for a ghost hunt or a paranormal experience?
Oh, right. Well, firstly, I can tell you're way up north because you say Arundel, and it's actually Arundel. Is how it's pronounced. It's pronounced Arundel, named after the River Arun, which is in Sussex.
Just be glad
everybody says that. Yeah. Sorry.
Just be glad I don't use my home accent because I'm actually a Brummie.
Right.
By birth.
Arundel Jailhouse, brilliant. The condemned man cell. Me and Ellie, alone in the condemned man cell. We always get good experiences. We give the public, you know, the guests that come along a tour around, and we do our greets, but we always make a point of going in that condemned man cell. But that orb that went into me, and I couldn't speak, which is not shown on that video, but I couldn't speak, and I'm sort of grabbing Ellie's arm to try and get her to help because I had to get out, and it was that was scary and quite nasty. The stool moving. You know, the K2 answering questions and the stool moving. Oh, unbelievable. But then again, at the Dolphin, see some of the experiences at the Dolphin, up in that loft space. I mean, I was pushed. People were commenting on the live, be careful. And I was pushed, and I was nearly pushed out of that loft space. That becomes scary. Brinstead Woods, again, where did that woman go? I was talking, having a conversation with a human being, and she was talking about this and the area and the bats and etc., and then disappeared into the woods. Bearing in mind we're in the middle of nowhere, it's pitch black, and you start to think she hasn't come back, and there's no way out. There was absolutely no way out. It was a strange experience. Quite a few. There's like I say, scariest. Yeah, the condemned man cell always gets me. And the dolphin stuff. See, I used to be scared. Well, like William will scare me sometimes. But sometimes it's the silly things that will scare you. It might not be that you've seen an apparition or something, but something you will hear. I mean, if you're in the down in the front cellar, or especially room 7. I mean, room 7 it's a very oppressive sort of atmosphere in there at times. There's a little bit more we know about the building and the history and things that we picked up on that have gone on there, but we can't say on camera. We'll talk about that when you come down.
Yeah.
But it's certain things that we can't talk about. But yeah, just sometimes the feeling of oppression, and that can be more scary than actually seeing a full-bodied apparition. Okay.
Yeah.
I do. Once you get me talking, like Eddie says, you won't stop me.
I've got a question. It's just walked out of my head. It does. Things do this to me. Does anyone in chat have a question for Mark about anything to do with the paranormal? Really, so ufology, ghosts and spirits, and if you can, and here's a question: Loch Ness monster, cryptozoology.
Absolutely, 100%. 100% cryptozoology. Does it exist? I don't know, because nobody's ever. There's been lots of grainy pictures. There's been some videos. The problem is when you get people making, it's a bit like the crop circle thing. When you get people, if you've got something that could be genuine and somebody's seen it, and then people start doing hoaxes, you have to pick the truth from the rubbish.
Yeah.
Do I believe there's something in Loch Ness? I'd like to. I'd like to believe that there's some prehistoric creature that's still there, and it's so deep that it's in the bottom of Loch Ness. Now, for there to be a Loch Ness monster and to have survived all this time, there would have to be more than one Loch Ness monster. You would have to have, well, the way it would work, probably, you'd have to have, there's at least two, and they'd be bloody old, to be honest. So you would have to have a colony, really, where they would keep breeding. Otherwise, they would become extinct and die out. So if the Loch Ness monster does exist, then there would have to be a colony, in my opinion.
It would be the same about things like Bigfoot and things like that, because the Bigfoot sightings have been seen for hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, Sasquatch
think that Bigfoot could actually be a Neolithic man that is kind of lost somewhere in the world.
100%. Yep, didn't evolve. We know for a fact in recent years where now we can get deeper into. There's not many places left that we haven't been, but you go deep into the Amazon jungle. And 20 years ago, we were finding tribes that nobody knew about, and they were so far back in evolution, and we didn't know they were there until recently. And sadly now they've got a dictator running their country out there now, and he's burning it all down. So that's another story. We won't go there.
Area 51, says Sharon.
Yep.
What's your view on it?
Well, it's definitely there. It definitely exists, and it's not only Area 51. There are several other places in America and all around the globe. As you commented the other day, the site in Wales. All governments and secret services agencies, they've all got an Area 51 or their version of Area 51. Now, 100% it's there. We know it's there. It's been proven to be there. What they're doing there, we don't know. We've got testimonies now from people like Bob Lazar, and that they claim that they worked there. They photographed aliens. They've done this. We've got their accounts for it. We don't have concrete evidence or proof.
I was going to say we don't.
So it's still unexplained. What they're doing, it exists. It's there. What they're doing there. Do they have a crashed alien craft or several crashed alien craft there? Do they have aliens there? Do they have aliens that then they get the back engineering from their technologies and their information? Are they, is it like a colony? You could have a colony of aliens there. We don't know. I don't think we're ever going to know, to be honest. All we can do is keep asking the questions.
Well, a friend of mine, Craig, he's a 4x4 buff, a bit like me. Nut, whatever you want to call us. He was telling me about Clapham Woods, not far from you. And the UFO sightings and weird stuff that happens at Clapham Woods. So when we come down to Littlehampton, we're going to come down probably late morning, because Craig's going to come and join us, and we're actually going to go and investigate Clapham Woods. So,
right. Okay.
So,
now, I worked as when I was a joiner by trade, carpenter joiner, and I worked on Clapham Church as a 16-year-old. We did a lot of refurb work there, etc. Nothing nasty happened up there. I was okay, but I remember, see, this goes back to crop circles. Just opposite from Clapham Woods, at the bottom of a road called Long Furlong, in a cornfield, was one of the first ever UK reported crop circles, and all it was a centre circle with 4 circles around the outside, which looked, for all intents and purposes, like a craft had landed there. I'm not going to say alien, a craft had landed there. Now, I went up and looked at this, and my dad took me up there, and we saw it. And there's this crop circle, and it's like, that's amazing, but what is it? We don't know. But then with Clapham Woods, I went up my most recent visit up there, and I've heard all about them. I've read all the books and watched all the videos on it. The disappearance of the vicar, the young girl, and then the police officer that was looking into the investigation of a missing person. He was found dead 6 weeks later in the woods. There's so much of it, but it's a good thing to investigate and to read. But I went up there probably just over a year ago. I actually went on a guided tour. It wasn't ghosts, it was just a guided tour.
Yeah.
And this guy you paid your £5, and he took us all around in the pitch black, and he sort of followed this trail around and told you all about the history, etc. But I had a bad feeling as soon as I left the church. I was fine in the church. As soon as I left the church and actually walked into the wood, the oppression started. The bad feeling that I was getting. There's no birds singing. There's no wildlife. You don't hear anything scuffling in the undergrowth. It's pure silence. Now, I started getting stomach pains and stomach cramps. I started to feel really unwell, really uneasy, and this went on and on. And we got deeper into the woods as we went, and I was thinking, I just want to get out. If I knew my way out, I would have just gone.
Yeah.
Now, but I had my phone with me, and I took some. They were all off, and I was right at the back of this group of people, because I wanted to just take some photographs. So when everybody else has walked off ahead, I'm taking pictures. I'm shooting behind me, no flash, in the pitch darkness. And I think the photo is still on the Light page. If not, I'll post it up again. But I took one photograph, and then on arrival back home, I've looked at this picture. I thought, well, what's that shape and that light? Now I've looked at this and I've enlarged it, and it's clearly, you would see, it's a figure. Now there's a man standing there in looks like a long trench coat. He's got like something around his neck with like a pouch that you would keep either gunpowder or money in. And there's a light by his head. He's as if he's holding a lantern above his head. Okay. Now there was no light sources. There was nobody else there. It was pitch black, and I shot that with no flash. It's the best full-bodied apparition picture I've ever taken, and to me it looks like a Napoleonic soldier. And Napoleonic soldiers were stationed around the area in the woods before they were ready to head out. So I'll post that picture back up again on the Light page.
I see that.
And have a look at it and see, make of it what you will. So, but yeah, definitely an eerie place. I said I wouldn't go back again, but as a paranormal investigator, I'm going to have to go back. But yeah, and then the mist rolled in, and then somebody locked the bottom gate. So if you're there, get out before dark, because the landowner now locks the gate, and we got locked in, and this mist rolled in, and it was the scariest thing.
Okay, Ellie's posted something up about Clapham Woods.
Yeah.
So I was in Clapham Woods when that red dust cloud came over in 2018. I thought it was the end of the world. I then took a picture, and it shows 3 nuns in a row in a group of trees, obviously in spirit.
Yeah, I've seen that picture. Absolutely. again, Ellie, I'm sure she'll post that picture up if she's still got it. Put that up on the page. Yeah, I'll put it up on the Light page and let people have another look at it. But yeah, I've seen that picture, 100%. But yeah, to be up there on that strange day when it looked like Armageddon and it all went and everything went red, it must have been scary.
Yeah, I was out photographing the sun that day. I can remember it was almost like War of the Worlds, and when it talks about the red weed that grows everywhere, and suddenly the sky turns red.
Yeah.
God, we've been invaded.
And everything went dark, and the birds stopped singing, and it's like, oh my God,
it was incredible.
Yeah.
I've had a message from one of our team members. She's also on the watch party. When you do an investigation, what are the top 2 devices you would use?
Me personally, device number 1, my ears. Device number 2, my eyes. And device number 3, my intuition. But if you're talking, which I think you probably are, about like technology, one of the best bits of equipment is one of the cheapest, the K2 meter. If you do baseline tests and nothing sets it off, you'll know if you've got sockets or anything that's going to trigger it. You do a baseline test and nothing happens. Then if you go back into that room with under the same conditions and the K2 meter's going off, then something in the atmosphere has changed in that room, 100%. And then when you ask questions, go to red for yes, etc., and you use it as a communication device. They work brilliantly. I think they work brilliantly. Absolutely amazing pieces of kit. And also a voice recorder.
Yeah,
an EVP voice recorder. EVPs. Buy a digital voice recorder, a cheap one or whatever you can afford, and just keep recording. And you never know what you're going to pick up.
You can get to your phone now that literally does that. It is just a voice recorder.
Yeah, we do. Wendy had one, and we used that the other day, and we picked up things on it. Yeah, a voice recorder on a phone. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's and it's cheap. Not everybody can afford REM pods and all this other stuff, but my best piece of equipment really is my ears.
Another way to find out the baseline for your K2 as well is to use your mobile phone, because it emits electromagnetic energy. You put your mobile phone down towards your K2, it'll go straight up to red. So when you're out doing something, say like a churchyard or something like that, and you're out in the open and you want to make sure your K2 is working, just drop anything electronic next to it. And you'll be surprised at how much it does actually go. And that will also enable you to realize that your K2 is working properly.
Absolutely.
I've got another question here from Jade. Jade's recently come on board to Stabbed in the Back as part of the group.
Hi, Jade. Welcome.
She says, I'm still learning with my gifts. I'm a medium and an empath.
You can advise anything? I think that means is there anything you can advise
with?
Yeah. The best bit of advice: trust your instincts. You would always tell. I'm learning all this from Wendy. Trust your instincts. Trust your intuition. If you have a bad feeling about somebody, you're pretty much going to be right. If you have a good feeling about somebody, you're normally right. But if you're doubting whether the voices you hear are communications or whatever, go with your instincts. Follow your instincts. And ask more questions and see what comes of it. But the best piece of advice, which I would say, is if you can find like-minded people, other mediums that are maybe more advanced or practicing, join a circle. Join a psychic circle where you meditate, you can learn your gift, you can practice. That would be my number one piece of advice. If you can find somewhere near you, or join a psychic circle, or form a group between a group of like-minded friends that have similar experiences, and form your own group and work together between yourselves. Just work as a circle. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. Oh, Louise has commented on when we go out and do an investigation. It makes us all laugh because she'll just stand there and go, "I've got my little flashy balls."
Right, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic. They cost £3. £3 for two. You get them from Sainsbury's, and they work. Tech doesn't have to cost you an arm and a leg.
No.
It's absolutely fantastic. And so many people go out, they'll spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on kit, but then when they get it, it's, I don't know how to use it. What do I do?
Yeah. And how do you interpret what you're getting as well? I mean, a lot of it doesn't come with a handbook.
No.
You've got a REM pod and it's going off. So how do you interpret what's going on there? Whereas your simple little K2 can back that up. You can see if the K2 is doing the same as the REM pod. I'd say a lot of people are using these cat balls. They're little things that light up when the cat knocks them all around the floor. So they work on a motion sensor.
Yeah.
But what a brilliant thing. If that's in the middle of a place where there's nobody anywhere near it, nobody touching it, there's no breeze, and the light goes off, somebody moved it.
We use them when we go to a graveyard because we normally put them down. When you've got the big table slabs of gravestones, we put them on top of those.
Yeah.
And at times we've seen them either move, there's no breeze, because they're normally in a closed area, no breeze to set them off. There's no vibration, yet they roll around all over the place. They flash like mad. And then it's like, okay, you're not talking to us via the spirit box. You're not talking to us via the K2, because obviously it's a hell of a lot of energy required for those two. Yet they're using something just like a little ball, which has 3 tiny little batteries in, and that's all the energy that they need.
Yeah, and it's just to let you know that they're not every spirit. I mean, there's a lot of people that would be in the spirit that, for whatever reason, might not want to come back and talk to anybody. For what there's a million reasons why you wouldn't want to come back and talk to somebody. If somebody's in your house where you used to live, or whatever the circumstances are, and they're calling, and if there's anybody or any spirits, step forward and come and communicate with us. They're the same as any real person. They could be going, I don't want to talk to them. I don't know them. I don't want to talk to them. It's no different to me standing at the bar of a pub and somebody walks in and I go, I don't want to talk to him. No, you won't, will you?
We purchased a parabolic speaker, and I was a bit dubious about it to start with. But we were at a graveyard when we were at the graveyard in Burbage in Hinckley, and to hear things crystal clear with no breeze. It was raining, but it was light rain, so we all got wet anyway. But hearing voices, hearing the chinking of milk bottles just coming through the parabolic headphone, it was, for me, it was that confirmation of, yes, this is real. We've used them indoors, we've used them outdoors, and we have had some absolutely fantastic responses. We did a private investigation in Rugby, and we had somebody in the group who wasn't really sure, wasn't a skeptic, didn't want to say they sat on the fence or anything, but he had the headset on. He pulled the trigger, and you just saw his face change. He looked like he'd wet himself.
Right.
And he panicked. And then Shazzy looked at him and went, "Are you okay?" And he went, "Did you hear that?" And we hadn't heard a thing. And I said to him, I just looked at him, I went, "What happened?" He goes, "I pulled the trigger and I heard this voice saying, 'Get out, leave me alone.'" Clear as day. Yet we didn't hear that. We didn't hear it on the EVP. We didn't hear it on anything. He just heard it. And you literally just saw the colour drain from him.
Yeah, absolutely.
For me, that was like a yes, thank you. A big
so that's validation. Somebody said, but see, with that, somebody says get out. They obviously don't want to talk to you now. So I'll put this one back to to your audience. So you're on an investigation, and all teams do it differently. Now, if you're on an investigation and a spirit says, get out, do you respectfully pack up and go? Do you say, we're not leaving? Or if you're getting the feeling of a malevolent spirit, how do you proceed from there? It'd be interesting to see what other people in the chat would make of that. If a spirit says get out, from my personal opinion, I would be inclined to say, we're here with all respect, we mean no harm. If you don't wish to talk to us, there may be other spirits that do, so we'll leave you alone. But if you had get out 2-3 times in a row, then it's probably time to leave the area you're in and go to another area. And that's respectful to the spirit, because you don't know the story or the background of any of it. So, and one thing which I don't do and I won't do is go to spirit. It's
no, that's something we don't do either. But when we do go into somewhere, whether it's every new room we go into, or a hallway, a passageway, or whatever, we always say we're coming as peace. We come in peace. We come as friends. We're not here to disturb you, but if you'd like to talk to us, please do.
Absolutely.
We've been laughed at a few times because people going, well, surely that's like saying to a real life person, I'm not, I don't really want to talk to you. But you give a spirit an option the same as you do a living person. You treat them with respect. But a lot of ghost hunters don't. A lot of ghost hunters want them to be really really nasty. When it happens, they can't deal with it.
I mean, if that's what you do, that's what you. It's just my personal opinion. I wouldn't get into an argument as saying but any other team or anywhere that if that's how they do it to get a response, and they do get good responses sometimes. It's just personally something that I wouldn't be comfortable in doing myself. But then people will go into a place and things will happen, and they will go to spirit, or I've seen some teams, some people that they might use swear words or something. It's just not for me. But other teams do it very successfully, and they get good reactions. They get strong reactions. They get angry reactions. Things will get thrown. Things get smashed, and that sort of, and it will fire up the activity, because if you're angering a spirit and they get so much power and so annoyed with you that they're going to smash something, it's great evidence that that there's somebody there and you're communicating with somebody. But it's not really for me. It's not the way I would go about it. Although it's interesting to watch other teams when they do that, and I will watch other teams and when they do that sort of thing. But it's not personally, it's not for me. It's not. No,
Ellie's just said, I'm afraid I sometimes goad William. Ha, he hates me. Yes, we've seen that a few times, Ellie.
But on that subject, see, it's Ellie's home as well as the business. It's Ellie's home, and she's got to live with him. I get to go home at night. See, I get to come back to my house, switch off, and apart from the Shadow Man incident, I get to go home. So that's fine. It's it was once William's domain. He still thinks it is his domain. It's Eddie's home, and if she wishes to wind him up or give him the because at the end of the day he was a convicted murderer, that's fine. Absolutely. I don't have to live with a bloke. he's not in my house, and that's it.
When you were doing the live last Saturday, and as you know, we the photo of my back being scratched, I was literally sat where I am now, working on some jewellery, and you had a group of ladies sat around the big Ouija board table, and one of them asked for proof. And as soon as she said, "I want proof," that's when I felt it was almost like two really sharp claws coming straight down my back, but then coming out from the bottom. And it was like, yeah, okay. I didn't want proof. They wanted proof, but I got scratched. So that's why we sent you the photos, because that doesn't normally that doesn't happen.
Excuse me. Yeah, but that maybe that's a way of them proving something in a different way. We don't know, understand it all fully. So you getting scratched like that,
yeah,
you know, there's the proof, but it didn't happen to anybody that was there, but it happened. No. It happened to you. So, you know, can they like we're communicating now? Can spirits communicate in the same way? Me talking to you now, and if I can communicate with a spirit here, you can communicate with a spirit there. Would a spirit, your end, be able to affect me, and the same vice versa?
Well, I think
these are things that you could do as interesting experiments. Yeah. You know, there's an experiment.
Concept of time either.
Yeah,
because when we've used a spirit board and we've asked when did you die, and the spirit says 1403, and then you ask the question, what year do you think it is now, and they go 1403.
Yeah,
you know, they don't realize that we're 600 years on.
Absolutely, no, because their life ended at that point, and they're, you know, they don't. And also, when you're using a spirit board, and can you spell your name? You know, you'd ask, can you spell your name? A lot of these spirits, we're talking spirits that go back. Some spirits could be recent, but some spirits could be 100 years, hundreds of years, thousands of years old. They couldn't read, they couldn't write.
But if they could, if they were able to read and write, the alphabet has changed so much. The Anglo-Saxon alphabet has changed so much.
Exactly that. And also the languages. Yeah. We're trying to communicate in English. You could have a spirit that wouldn't understand. For a prime example, on the live that we did. No, it didn't go on the live. I don't think it went. Or did it? It might have gone on the live. I have to ask Ellie. Did it go on the live? The guy speaking German. Yeah. We had a guy, and twice now we've done this. And the guy was asking questions, calling out for communication in German, and every time he was getting responses.
Yes, that was on the live. We saw that. That was fantastic.
Yeah. So not necessarily. You could be and I say a child spirit wouldn't be able to read and write. So you're asking them to spell their name on a board. They can't spell their name.
But they do. They move the planchette or the glass around because it's an association of letters. It's not necessarily what it is.
Just to get it to move is. I mean, for me, it's an amazing thing just to get it to move. I mean, the energy that it must take, especially for a child spirit, to move a glass on a board doing divination, you can't imagine.
No.
Well, excellent.
Got one last question because our hour is just run over, but it doesn't matter. We're okay.
That's all right. That flew by, and my battery's still running, so we're all right.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years' time?
Where do I see myself in 10 years' time? 60. Hopefully still alive, and hopefully fit and well. And
beating the paranormal.
Still driving the steamroller. What I've got to do now, obviously after quitting my job after 24 years, this year I must concentrate on sorting out some work. Obviously I've been personal business, but I've been living on savings and other money. So I need to. I've had my break now. I've got me hobby engines sort of sorted out. So yeah, I need to concentrate on work. I'd like to do something where I'm working for myself, because like I said earlier, I'm sick of being told what to do by somebody else, and it just causes you nothing but grief and misery. So if I could do something for a living that I enjoyed, whether it's paranormal investigating, I mean, we've done bits of TV work with different things, and I've done other TV interviews. I had a documentary made about me when I was a teenager. I'm into rockabilly. My music is 50s rockabilly, rock and roll. And they made a little documentary in this very house and about us and my life. Do you know what? It all depends what opportunities present. If there's anybody out there watching this on YouTube in land, I'd love to do presenting. I would love to get into presenting documentaries or anything really. But is that likely to happen? Probably not. So where am I going to be in 10 years' time? It'd be nice to be retired early and still be able to drive my steamroller and still be able to go investigating. But the one thing I am pursuing, and hopefully will be good enough, is the clairaudient side, the psychic abilities. That's definitely ongoing and progress with that. But yeah, who knows? Whatever's mapped out for me will be mapped out. So I won't have a lot of saying it. But as long as I'm healthy,
Yep.
If I'm healthy and happy, in 10 years, that'd be great. That's all I can ask for. Okay. But I live one day at a time.
Yeah, so do we. Safer. I just want to say
exactly.
Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Insight to your paranormal life with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the 21st of March when we come down to Littlehampton.
Yeah, absolutely. No, absolute pleasure, Steve. Thanks for inviting me on. Your good lady's gone very quiet. I can't hear her voice anywhere there. She's busy moderating, I presume.
Busy moderating in the other room, but
yeah.
No.
To talk to you. We'll have a good chat when you come down to the Dolphin. Looking forward to that one. Now you've dropped the bombshell that you want to go to Clapham Woods. Oh, that makes it more interesting. Now I got
Craig's coming out anyway, so that was fantastic.
No, all I'd like to say is can't wait to have you down. Look forward to meeting you, all your team.
Thank you.
I'm sure they're all very nice people, and we'll all get on famously. So I think we'll have some interesting conversation. We'll meet up earlier in the day. We'll have a proper good chat, and then we'll go investigating.
Cool. Sounds fantastic.
Okay.
Well, Mark Green from Light Paranormal and the Dolphin Hotel. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye bye. So, guys, that was Mark Green live with us this evening. Giving a slight little insight into what we can expect. From the paranormal as we work on in our lives. Mark is absolutely fantastic. Mark actually won our first giveaway for 2020, and he won the first pendulum. That he has safely arrived with him now. So, or rather, it's at his parents' house, and then he'll go and pick it up. But it's just going to be fun just to get to see him. Meet the rest of the team and just enjoy our public event. So yes, the Dolphin Hotel, 21st of March, which is Saturday evening. Come join us if you can. There are loads of public tickets. We don't have a limit on our public tickets. It's one of these, it's open to everyone. It's £30 for the event. Come join us, come do something different. There's loads of camping. There's loads of B&Bs around. There's a travel lodge just up the road, so please, if you can, come join us. Well, I'm going to say good night now, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you soon. Don't have nightmares.